we're back for some Bleach Soul Resonance, and we have a Mayuri rerun on the horizon within the next, let's actually check because it is here 6 days, almost 6 days exactly. We're officially under 1 week until the next character. I mean, that's no other way to really put it. We're essentially under 1 week until the next full character drops. And while we do not have information on who that character will be just yet, what we do know is that Mayuri, as I was saying, will be rerunning. Now, a lot of people are taking this to mean that, well, not like the majority of people, but there are some people who are speculating because we still do not know if there's like a new typing or if it's like, you know, new typing or you know, classical typing, and we'll get like a character who is, you know, slash or what have you. But essentially what it, you know, what this boils down to is Mayuri is getting changed. A chance at getting the character after a rework of sorts concerning his randomness with his technique, which is something people have been talking about for a while. He essentially just throws a random one of his abilities outside of his, you know, enhanced one, right? So I don't think this Mayuri rerun has anything to do with the typing of the next character. I still am on the fence of whether it is a new typing or a sort of misunderstanding by the community. I like to have a more formulated and firm opinion, but if I'm honest, I still just don't trust a lot of the speculation. There needs to be a lot of things. I was sort of joking around in the Discord the other day, but the Bleach Soul Resonance Discord, that is. There needs to be a lot of things that release all at once for a new typing to sort of appear in the game. I mean, they don't have to do this, but a new typing would mean a new type trial. A new typing would mean a new swath of academy materials. Someone did point out that, RB in the Discord and others did point out that slash ascension, strike ascension, trust ascension, spirit ascension is no longer visible here. So they did change the naming component. There is also coming soon, whatever this over here is. But they did change the naming conventions or the labeling conventions. So maybe that means they needed to create space for a new typing. Whatever the case may be, like I said, we don't know the typing of this new character. What I don't think it will be, though, firmly, full stop, is a second thrust character, period. You have to remember that when they're going to rerun this character, not only is he getting buffed, but Ichigo's here for 69 days. 69 more days. He's here for 81 days in total. He's here for a long, long, long time, right? These characters are going to be around for a long, long, long time. So that is like a big thing concerning these characters. So as far as like, oh, I'm gonna take this to mean that like the next character is also gonna be thrust, I don't think it means anything. I literally don't think it means anything. But Mayuri, should you pull on Mayuri? Yes, yeah, you should. Yes, hey, you there, you. Did you skip Mayuri the first time he was around? Did you think, oh, I don't like this character, so I just won't take him? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Are you crazy? This character's broken as shit. He's broken his... Oh. This guy is so good, man. He is so good. One of the runs I did semi-recently with, you know, just sort of going through, like, you know, how does the thrust team work with without an LL? You know, maybe you want to use Tosin. Or specifically, you should not pull for an LL if you do not already have her, because a lot of the ability you see her presenting sort of on my channel, I did this when I was still like completely, because like I consider this channel and I consider this account a free-to-play minded channel, a free-to-play maybe low spending minded channel. But remember, the only character I really have duped out is B2 LL, and I got that before ever spending a dime on the monthly. The monthly is something, I say this all the time, that I use so I can get B0 characters. If I get lucky, I'll get a B1 character. I got lucky on the LL pulls. There was a lot of rewards during CNY, and I got B2 LL during that period. Only character I've done that with. So when you see my LL, she's a B2 character, which is not usually how it goes on this channel, right? I think that throughout the course of this celebration, if they keep up the pace of rewards, you could probably B2 one of the TYBW characters before we stop without having to spend a dime. Just through like sort of the overflow of rewards, if they stay the same, if they stay that amount. I mean, you will probably get lucky on one of these characters. You will probably not pity literally every single character and every single weapon stamp just through the like law of averages or something like that. But yeah, Kaname Tosin being able to fill in for this spot, he isn't providing a ton of support. He's providing thrust resistance down, but you know who's actually providing all this guy? This guy is the reason that a true Shikai Ichigo without a Nellel can still do upwards of 200 million support, or damage rather, total damage, without a boundary. If you had a boundary, that character would probably hit like 300 million by himself with Mayuri. Like, it probably is that ridiculous. You have to get this character. Another reason that you have to get this character essentially is because, if you don't have him, is because the team setup. I wish there was a better way to say. The team setup revolves totally around Mayuri. I said before that arguably this should look like this, and I stick by that. Three of the teams, I should say, three of the teams that exist are Mayuri and two bums. Is the joke I made a few videos ago. Mayuri and two bums is the meta in this game. Eventually this won't be the case. Eventually we'll get a proper strike support, and we'll get a proper slash support, and you know, and then Mayuri can like stay on thrust. The thing about that though is, for those characters to be worth it, we're talking about an insane pump in ability here. Each time a debuff on an enemy is triggered, the crit damage of the one who triggered it is increased by 100%, 30 seconds unstackable. The crit damage granted by Terror is additionally increased by 160%. 260% there. This character is absurd. When releasing the ultimate, increases the entire team's all skill mastery by an extra 5% and ailment mastery by 10%. And if you happen to have any boundaries, we could talk more. So excitement going up, right? Ailment mastery there, spiritual pressure charge right there. If you know, for his it's also his technique. Entire team ailment damage there. Of course, we do not consider these when ranking Mayuri because we are a free-to-play focused channel. So mostly B0 to B2. I've said time and time again that Mayuri is, without a doubt, in my mind, even with True Shikai Ichigo out, even with Ulquieta out, even with Bambi coming probably, even with Yuryu coming probably, even maybe with Candace coming. Candace could be the first time we talk about this. Mayuri is without a doubt, for me right now, the single best character in the game for free-to-play and perhaps even low-spending players. Once you get into whales, once you start talking about B6 characters, we can talk about like maybe Seiya Lapido is better than him because Seiya Lapido is with Ulquieta, and Ulquieta at B6 is probably still the top end of DPS right now. Mostly because Ichigo and Nellel don't really, you know, have a cohesive game plan, right? So Mayuri at B0 to B2, which is the majority of the player base. The majority of player base is not wailing on characters. That's just how every single gacha game goes. The majority of the player base, unless it somehow is like a Macau only, extremely diluted player base. The majority of every player base in gacha is ruled by the free-to-play and low-spending class. Mayuri, for the free-to-play and low-spending class, is without a doubt the most needed character in this entire game, and he has been since the day he released. It's taken me a bit to sort of form that idea because I don't like to speak so definitively on things like that, but Mayuri with Core Stamp 5, which is a free-to-play thing. I mean, you could say, oh, well, you know, it's RNG. I got it free. I just, through doing the core stamp for the last few months, we got there, and then I traded some core stamps into his core stamp. Weapon 1, B0. This is the most impactful character that you can have on your account right now. I'm not saying that he is going to be unmatched forever and ever and ever, and it'll never change, and the game is going to stay the way it is until, you know, we all turn to dust. But I am saying that the next support that releases has to be so specialized, so powerful, so synergistic with the group that it is with, or we're essentially going to be like, okay, it's time to do Frenzy Feast. You know, we got to use our characters. We need to use like one of each character, so we might as well. Okay, at least we have a strike support now, so we don't have to use Yurihara here. Instead, it'll hopefully be, okay, I've got my Yuri here, perfect. I've got, you know, Candace here, perfect. She's really strong. And, you know, now we're still waiting on Slash support or whatever, right? Hopefully, it is one of those cases where it's not, okay, I guess now I can use a different character, even though it would be better to still use my Yuri. Hopefully it's, oh my god, this character is so good for Strike, this character is so good for Slash. Because right now, my Yuri is the apex of the game if you are a free-to-play, low-spending player. The DPSs just do not shine without him. And obviously it is one of those things where it's like, okay, well, my Yuri doesn't have anyone to buff without a DPS, and it's like, I mean, you could, if Aizen could use like Mayuri properly, like really make use of it. I think he does have debuffs. I don't know if he really counts as ailment though. Obviously, he just has debuffs. You know, we'd still be talking about like, you know, this character solo DPSing with this character and you know, Yurihara, right? We have enough proof that characters, you know, without DPSs, with just using like tactics characters as solos instead, we have sort of proof that, you know, if you buff these characters enough, if you put enough juice on them, if you get them cranked enough, they will just pass the full DPS characters that are intended to be used. I mean, for a long time, the Toshido problem was that he just wasn't better than double supported Aizen. So he never really got a chance to, you know, really play out his lifespan, essentially. He was sort of gone in a second. The sort of like, you know, Ichigo as a DPS just never really got back to a position of being one of the best characters in the game after we started releasing other units, right? Because, you know, I'd rather use, you know, any version of Kenpachi's team over than a Bankai Ichigo's team, right? So, yeah, you gotta get him. You gotta get him. It is what it is. If you do not have this character, at some point, try to grab this character. I'm not going to tell you to like shell out for a character in a gacha game. You shouldn't really be spending much money on a gacha game at all. These games are predatory, of course. I like to remind people that constantly. The best gacha game is still terrible because it is a mobile game. It is a mobile gacha game, and gacha games are evil. But, you know, thankfully we got a cool IP game like Bleach Soul Resonance that is so free to play friendly. So if you do get a chance to grab this character, if you're not a big fan of Bambi, or maybe you're not a big fan of Yuryu, or maybe Candace, whoever ends up showing up, I would try to grab my Yuri in that space. Remember that we are getting a lot of rewards, so I would expect us to be able to grab my Yuri +1. So long as you don't go for dupes with the other characters. This is why I say time and time again, the reason I have not pulled for an Ichigo dupe despite having 32,000 Jade, because we've had a really good run of rewards, is he's gonna be around. He will be here. He will be here for 60 more days. It's okay to not pull immediately for boundaries. You can just wait in this case. So, yeah, maybe you pulled for boundaries a little too early and now you can't grab my Yuri, and you've been waiting and you thought he'd rerun later, but here he comes. So this is one of the reasons why when you have a window of time, you should play to that window of time and not rush out to grab boundaries for a character who might be buffed, who might not need them. That's one of the reasons I said why Ichigo is undoubtedly extremely good with his boundaries. Both of his boundaries are a lot of damage. They make him do a lot of damage. But this character already does a lot of damage. This character already supports Kenpachi perfectly. This character already does everything he needs to do, so he doesn't need his boundaries. That's very different from Nellel, who I would say if you were B0 Nellel or didn't have Nell at all, one of the reasons I said don't grab Nell is because her B0 at this point isn't that strong. You kind of need at least B1, B2, so don't pull for her. It's not worth it, right? Yeah, but that's the Mayuri vid. He's the GOAT. It is what it is. I think he's the best character that the game has gotten so far. The second one with that, I would have to give credence to Aizen. I think Aizen is now, after some time, the second best character that Bleach Soul Resonance has ever gotten. This is mostly because I think the way that Mayuri affects the entire game is just so ludicrous. Whereas Aizen, even though he was sort of in that position where he would just go everywhere and he could go on any team, blah, 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 he's universal, that fell out of favor faster than Mayuri's fallen out of favor. Mayuri has been the dominant force on 3 teams, which is 3 out of the 4 teams you can run for a long time now. I mean, how long has it been? We got TYBW Ichigo. Then it was Ulquieta, so almost 3 weeks now, so like almost a month. Then Ulquieta, almost a month. Then White Ichigo, almost a month. Then Grimjo, almost a month. Then Zael, almost a month. You know what I mean? Like, this has been like 5 months of being like the best character on every single team, bar Spirit. So I gotta hand it to him. I do. He's the best character they've ever released so far. I think there's probably a part of them that realizes weirdly that they should not have released him this strong. I think they released him this strong because of player feedback, because of saying that characters were getting a little dupe dependent. They told us specifically that this character would not be dupe dependent at all, and I think it's a mistake on their part. To them, not to us. We are the player. We would like them to release characters this not dupe dependent all the time. But to them, I think they realize that Mayuri is a little bit of a mistake. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, how you feel? Are you gonna pull for Mayuri? Is he on your shopping list here? Are you free to play, low spending? Are you a whale? Did you miss Mayuri somehow? I would suggest grabbing him in some way. Again, you don't have to grab him immediately. You could grab Candice or Bambi or Yunohana or Orihime or whoever ends up coming out. Wink wink. Whoever ends up coming out next. And then wait and then grab Mayuri later on, if you so please. But yeah, I would try to get him if you do not have him on your account, period, because he isn't going anywhere anytime soon. I don't think. I just don't. They'd have to release, even if they release a strike support, they still have to release like an entirely new support for Thrust, and I just don't think that's coming anytime soon, weirdly enough. Or not Thrust. Not only they would have to release for Thrust, they would have to release a new one for Slash. So Mayuri gets value no matter what. Anyway, I've been Lone. Like and like the video, subscribe to the club, we'll go make it in. Peace.